I would like to introduce to you a Mendit Research Lab community event. At the beginning, I will show for you the video about Global Fashion Assembly. Let me know if you can see it. Yes, do you see the video?
Yeah.
Yes. And Global Fashion Assembly is an online gathering of local fashion communities from all over the world to decentralize and decolonize knowledge creation and sharing of body sharing, fashioning practices and heritages. And we invite you to other events that will take place till the end of October, and all information you can find on the Global Fashioning Assembly website or Eventbrite.com, and I will put the links in the chat so you can go there and find it. And I am Sveta Sarnikova, and today I am not only presenting the GFA production team, but I'm happy to introduce the female collective Mendit Research Lab from Moscow, Russia, and which I am part of. And today we will talk about our mending practical workshops and research, and introduce our personal projects and different views of on mending, on the topic of mending, upcycling, and textile art, to show the experience that lies behind our community. And in the beginning, I will take over to Lyudmila Lyabyeva, who is the head, the person who inspired us to do what we're doing. And also she is academic director of the postgraduate program at the HEC School of Design, associate professor and editor-in-chief of the journal Fashion Theory, Clothing, Body, Culture. And Lyudmila will share the presentation about our lab in the beginning. And after that, we will we will show our personal projects.
Yeah, thank you, Svetlana, and hello, everyone. I'm super excited to be here, and it's absolutely amazing that we as a lab are a part of this important and wonderful event, which is a sort of a gathering of all the initiatives which are spread all over the world. And today, yes, I'm going to appear in two different points of this event, and now I would like to say a few words about how the lab was initiated and why we decided to get together, and why mending became the central element of this lab. Can you see my presentation okay?
Yes.
Oh, yep, thank you. So actually, we started as a female collective in the summer 2021. So it was a long time ago. And I was so inspired by the idea that we could do something about mending, specifically because of some thoughts which I had during the pandemic, because as everyone, I was confined in four walls with my wardrobe and didn't really want or need to buy anything new, and just decided to sort of go through the things I already had. And at some point, I understood that we actually lacked that contact with the clothes we already had. And at some point, I started to hear about different initiatives all over the world that people started to actually give a second chance to their existing wardrobes, taking care of the things they have. And very often that care took the form of mending. And I thought that some of my students could be interested in gathering around this idea. And I was right. because these wonderful women who are a part of this collective, which we are presenting today, they responded to the call, and we decided that we would operate in the format of practice-based research, because we are all researchers, some of us practitioners, but we decided right from the start that we are going to hold practice-based workshops, which will allow us to see what mending is all about, and also research all the contexts, all the technologies which mending involves. So this is how it all started. You can see here a glimpse into one of our first meetings at Lena's apartment. And we decided that we would probably start our lab with talking to some of the researchers and some of the people who already research some of the aspects of sustainability and care. And those people were Otto von Busch, Ingun Klepp, and many other colleagues from all over the world who generously shared their thoughts about mending with us. And our first expedition as a lab was actually to the Museum of Holes and Patches. And that is an absolutely unique museum, 250 kilometers from Moscow, which is an initiative of Elena Naumova, who decided to collect some of the things from the local village, which she found there, and who the people who live there actually shared with her. And she, as a result, has this fantastic initiative of the Museum of Holes and Patches. And it seems like people have been putting holes and patched up everything, including clothes, including kitchenware, all their life, especially during Soviet times. And I will get to that point again. We also had another expedition to Kolomna and had a wonderful tour of the fund which exists and operates in Russia. It's called Second Breath. And from its name, you understand that it's second breath, which is given to clothing to give them a chance to continue, but not to leave the circle of life, but to be kept and cared and taken care of, loved. Then we were invited as a lab by a cultural initiative here in Moscow, Guest 2. And there we had a residency which was devoted to clothing repair practices. And that residency was a constellation of meeting, workshops, lectures. So you can see how we had all this thematic workshops, repairing memories. We had a wonderful format which we call mending dating, which we use from time to time because it's a fantastic way actually to meet new people. And clothes and mending are actually very good starting point for relationship, not necessarily romantic, but any sort of a community based relationships. We then actually we finished that lab, that residency. I don't see that panel, but I will see it soon, I guess. Right after that that residency, we were invited to the Jewish Museum and Tolerance Center. And again, there we had a residency which was connected with the exhibition, which was held at the museum at that time in 2022. And that exhibition was called The Sense of Home. So somehow that was the emotions which were quite important for everyone at the time. Yes, in winter, all summer, and spring 2022, everyone felt like they needed some extra support. And here mending with its potential, very powerful potential, came in very, very handy. And we could see how all the participants actually came to our workshops, not only in search of, initiatives which will help them to take care of their clothes, but mostly because they needed a space. They needed a safe space to share their emotions, to share their feelings, to share their fears. And again, we felt like we created that space for other people and shared with what we have with them. This, well, someone, could you please switch off your mic? Thank you so much. And this is our tour to a very beautiful sport not far away from Moscow. It's called Nikola Lenivets, and we went there to well, the idea was that we would take the textile panel, which we created during the residency at GES 2, and the idea was that we give it sort of an outcry. We will run around, shout, share with all our, thoughts and fears with the nature, and well, it helped. I would say it was wonderful. And then we started a regular club at GES 2. So every 2 weeks, we held mending clubs for everyone who came to the institution. So we had different topics. At some point, we learned how to make seams and patches and just patching up the holes, work with stains. There were lots of different theme-based classes. Some of them were, for example, focused on knitted objects. At some point, we created some beautiful textile bags for New Year patches. So yeah, it was sort of a very big and a long endeavor, during which we had a lot of theme-based workshops. And that nearly half a year mending club allowed us to gather quite a number of people around our initiative. And then our channel in Telegram grew dramatically. So we felt like, yes, we were at the stage when there were already a lot of people inspired by this idea. And of course, we felt like we couldn't stop anymore. We had no chance. We needed to continue, which we are doing now as well. We decided as a very respected collective that we needed a zine, especially because there were so many things we wanted to share with. So this is the presentation of the launch of our first zine, in which we published our manifesto and the thoughts all the collective members had about mending and why mending is inspiring for them. Well, we sometimes have fun. Well, this is one of the fun parts. So for Valentine's Day, we created this socks Tinder, well, Menda. And well, that was the way we actually enjoyed mending. Yelena, one of the collective members who will talk later, initiated the opening of the first regional atelier of Mendit Lab in Chelyabinsk in the Urals in March 2023. And we still hope for the growth. We really hope that at some point there will be a lot of spots in different places all over the country, because we believe that people actually do it already. We just need, yes, we need to probably get together and to see that there are many of us. This is another regional initiative from St. Petersburg, where we presented our lab and had a fantastic lecture and workshop. We also collaborate with some brands, and this is one of such collaborations, the workshop which we held at Blue Store Concept Store. And it also allows opportunities for us, but also for brands to actually reconsider their practices and to look at mending as one of the potential tracks, not only, you know, to greenwash and sort of a mark to add some extra value to the brand, but to really engage with it, to really engage with mending, because we believe it's going to be the future of consumption. So we are trying to work on this at least. Obviously, as a research lab, we participate in conferences, and this is one of the conferences we took part in, the one in Yerevan, Fashion Identity and Crisis, how we make, wear, and care for clothes. And we had a workshop there where all the participants of the conference embroidered the words which they associated with the conference. And I would say that there were a lot of words, repair, wear, but care was the leader. It topped the list. So we are in need of care. Our clothes, our souls, our bodies. So mending is here to stay, I hope. We also had a very successful online art and research residency with Swiss Art Council Pro Helvetia, where we spoke to different brands and individuals and designers and researchers from Switzerland who are very close to our lab in their practice and in their research. And after that, we also created another zine. So we have two volumes at the moment. Hopefully there will be the third one. And we also participated in another conference with invited decolonise to our gathering, and we had together a roundtable on repair in the context of pedagogy and as a design method. So again, this is very important for us because we look at repair not only as an individual practice, but also as a design method. And one of the recent and beautiful events was held in August 2024, Mending Picnic. And you can see that we operate in a variety of formats, trying to engage as many people as we can and organizing different events. It could be customization, it could be mending, it could be creating some gift bags, but the central point always is mending, as the potential of mending as not only the sort of a care practice of the clothes, but also as a community tool, because it's important that we actually get together, and this togetherness is extremely important and crucial for us. You can see our plans. We still have plans, and many of them. And one of the workshops will be held at Gulag Museum on the 29th of October, which is also the day of, it's a memorial day for those who were repressed during Stalinist time. So we are going to have a workshop, Sweater of Our Memory, Repair and Care Practices for Knitted Items. So everyone who is in Moscow or who might be in Moscow, please come join us, and it's going to be unforgettable. And for those who are inspired or for those who would like to follow us, please use all these methods. We do have our Instagram account. We mostly operate in Telegram, and we also have a site in progress. So this is us. Thank you.
Thank you, Ludmila. It was then when we see how a lot we do, and we wanted to do more, and to gather more, and to communicate with our people, because it's, as you said, I think the most beautiful thing in our community, that we not only mend, we not only do something by hand, but we do it together. And
Absolutely.
now I will I will ask Lisa Ivanova to show her project. Lisa is an upcycling designer and inclusive art therapy courses designer and teacher. And Lisa,
Here.
yeah, you are here. I found you. And Lisa will show us not a project, their idea, yes, will tell us about superstitions concerning needles in Russian culture, or how not to get cursed.
Yeah. Okay, hello everybody. Do you see me well and do you hear me well?
Yes.
Yeah, perfect. Because I actually see myself frozen on the screen and I'm afraid that you have the same image.
No, we see the video.
Okay, that's great. My name is Lisa Ivanova. I'm a participant and researcher of Mendit Research Lab. I'm happy to be a part of the collective, and I'm also happy to be here at this international online event. Today I'm going to tell you about my research project. As Sveta said, it concerns superstitions. I've been always fascinated by this piece of folklore, superstitions, because I find them very viable. Many songs and many tales have disappeared, and if you ask people nowadays, they probably can't tell you a Russian fairy tale or sing a traditional folk or Russian song, but no doubt they do know some of the superstitions that were passed to them from their grandmothers, aunts, and other older women in their family. And so, as a person who spent every summer at the countryside with her granny, during my school years, I mean, so I observed a lot of superstitions, and I was really fascinated by its power, and I decided to collect them. But until maybe a couple of months ago, I didn't connect in my mind the idea of superstitions and mending. So it happened accidentally while I was given a workshop on upcycling to a community of businesswomen, young businesswomen. And one of them asked me to find a needle with a wide eye of a needle. And I found it, and I was outstretching my hand to give it to her. And she said, no, put it down. I put it down, and she then took the needle. I asked, what was that? And she said, oh, there is a superstition. You don't pass the needle from hand to hand. And then it all clicked in my mind, and I decided that, yeah, I love superstitions, really love them, I adore them, and I also love handcrafts. And so these two ideas just matched. And today I'm going to tell you some of the superstitions concerning needles and give practical recommendations on how not to get cursed while using needles. So let's start. First one is about picking your finger while sewing. It's supposed to be a good sign in Russian culture. If you pick your finger on a needle while sewing, it means that you will get reward for your work, and your work will bring fine results. It's even more interesting for young girls, because if a young girl picks her finger on a needle, it means that soon she will meet her betrothed, as we say in Russia, which means the man of her life. But of course, there is condition to it. After picking her finger on a needle, the girl should not use the needle until until the prediction comes true, and she should store the needle somewhere in a nook in her house. So imagine if a Russian family has like 4 girls and they all want to get married, so they pick their fingers on needles and then put them in a nook, and you don't have needles at home. Well, then next point is if you drop a needle while sewing, you should see how it lays on the surface. If the needle points at you with its sharp edge, it means that you will have some guests, but those guests will be unwanted guests. If the eye of the needle points at you, it means that you will have some friends to visit. If the middle part of the needle points at you, It means that, first of all, you will have some unwanted guests. Second, those unwanted guests will bring some unwanted news. So never drop the needle. Then stepping on the needle, and please don't try it at home, brings arguments with friends. Sitting down on a needle, don't try it at home, will bring disappointment in love. Then you probably might lose a needle. If the needle you are losing, you lost, yeah, is without a thread, it's a good sign. It can precede a meeting with an old friend, happy news, or meeting a boyfriend for single ladies. If you find a needle outside your home, it's a bad sign. I'm talking about losing a needle. Yeah, try not to lose the needle without thread. So in order to achieve this, you should always keep your needles threaded, because losing a needle without a thread can precede separation from some of your dearest and nearest. If you find this needle soon, this separation won't last long. Finding a needle, finally. Yeah, if you find a needle at home, it's a good sign, definitely. All the bad luck that was brought by losing a needle is taken away, and it's fine. But if you find a needle outside your home, somewhere in the street, you, first of all, never touch it, never pick it up, because needles are often used in black magic practices, and they might be cursed, because curses are usually put on small metal objects, so either needles or coins or hairpins are a perfect fit for this. You don't even step on this needle outside your home, and you don't even touch it with the sole of your shoe, not even like that. And also, you shouldn't even overstep this needle. It's very dangerous. It's supposed to be dangerous in folk Russian culture. But what you can get from this situation is to see how the needle is positioned. So if it points at you with its sharp edge, unlike when you drop it at home, it's a good sign. If it points at you with the eye of the needle, it's a bad sign. And I guess that's it. The general recommendation is don't pick it up, don't touch it, but you can look at it. Then breaking needles is also an important part, and generally breaking a needle somewhere here in the middle or at the edge is a good sign. It means that some positive change will come to your life very, very soon. But if you break the eye of the needle, it's a bad sign. It means unforeseen expenses or financial loss. So don't break the eye of the needle. Of course, there is a special ritual for throwing broken needles. They are not thrown away from home with general garbage. So what you have to do with a broken needle to throw it away? You should take a fabric bag with a preferably with the red color, yeah, with some straw inside it. You put your broken needle in it, and you go far away from home and bury it in the ground. While burying the needle in the ground, you have to say a special spell, of course. Well, it's a Russian one, but I will give you a short English translation. It sounds like Mother Earth, accept the needles, save them inside yourself, and don't let evil spirits or people reach it. So, let's move on. Sometimes when some of your needles are hidden in some nooks by your daughters, because they want to get married. And some of the needles are broken and some of the needles are lost. You definitely need to borrow a needle from your neighbor. But borrowing a needle is also a very specific thing. First of all, when borrowing or lending a needle, you should make sure it's threaded. Yeah, so there is a thread in the needle. Otherwise, you will either give away your happiness, luck, and prosperity if you are lending an unthreaded needle to a person, or you will take the prosperity, luck, and happiness of the person who is giving you, who is lending you a needle with no thread in it. So remember, if you are asked to lend a needle, it should be threaded. And besides, of course, there is a ritual of passing the needle. You don't just give a needle from hand to hand. Yeah, you put the needle on a surface and the other person picks it from that surface. So if you don't have a table or something near you, you just take some box or a book and put it, the needle down, and the other person takes it. Then needles are not given as presents, especially on a wedding day. If newlyweds are given needles as a present, it means that there will be conflicts between them. And also, if a person gives needles as a present to another one, it also means that there will be a conflict between them. But there is a way to avoid the negative magical effect if you do the magically correct actions. Yeah, if you take them. So what you have to do if you are given a needle as a present by a person who didn't know about those superstitions. So you have to take the needle and pick your finger with it, first of all. And then you have to give a symbolic payment for this present, like some small coin. It will be enough. And also you put this needle, first of all, of course you thread it because it's necessary to thread all the needles that you store at home. You need to put it, to stick it in a red cushion. And thus the negative magical effects will fade away. So remember, if you want to give a very useful and practical present to a person and be forced to hurt them and be forced to get some money for it, well, needles are a perfect present. So let's move on. Then you probably might scatter all the needles you have somehow, somewhere in your home. Better not do this, because it means that a lot of small trouble will come into your life. Storing needles is also a ritual. You should store needles stuck. First of all, of course, they all should be threaded, right? And they should be stuck in a cushion or put in a box, but they all should be well ordered and tidy and neat, because clutter and disorder brings poverty in the life of the owners of the needles. What else should be said is that you shouldn't stick needles anywhere in your home for storage, for example, not in the walls, not in the window sills, not anywhere else. And if you find a needle somewhere in your home, you should first ask your family. Maybe it's a protective magical practice that they just did, because it's believed that if you stick needles above the entrance door, no witch will come into your house. We should check it, by the way. So first of all, when you find a needle in your home, you ask your family if it's a needle for protection. If it's not, especially if the needle is threaded with a black thread, or if the needle is burned and there are ashes on it, then probably somebody is trying to curse you. What do you have to do in this case? First of all, don't touch this needle with your bare hands. No. You are supposed to find some piece of cloth, take a needle with it. Then you can cleanse the needle by burning it, but I don't recommend it because if the fabric you took the needle in is synthetic, then probably you will burn yourself too. So don't do this. Don't do this at home. Yeah, what you are supposed to do is you take this needle in a fabric, preferably biodegradable, because then you go to the crossroads and dig it in. Yeah, so don't leave anything non-biodegradable in the ground, obviously. And then back home, you have to burn some warm wood. In Russian, it's called palin, for those who are not familiar with the word. And thus, the negative magical effects of the curse will be taken away. So, and also you can sprinkle some holy water around, it also helps. Summing up what you should and what you should not do with your needles to be magically safe and not to get cursed. First of all, don't give needles as a present, and try not to be given needles as a present. Store them in perfect order. Try not to lose needles, and even not to drop or scatter them. Don't touch needles that you find outside, and make sure that there are no needles stuck inside your house. By the way, sticking needles inside your house is also dangerous, because Russians believe that there is a special spirit protecting the house. In Russian, it's called domovoy. It derives from the word dom, which means house. And so by sticking needles somewhere in your house, you could hurt domovoy. He could get angry at you and maybe do some some tricks on you, which you really don't want. So I guess that's it. Pick your fingers on needles. It brings luck, and more you work with your needle, the higher chances that you will definitely pick your fingers. I hope you enjoyed this short presentation. I would like to know about your local traditions, or maybe some superstitions or omens, because it's really interesting to compare them, if they are similar, if they are not, and maybe you have some very specific superstitions for your place. So thank you for your attention, and I hope to hear from you soon.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you very much for telling us about Russian cultural tradition associated with needles. And so next we go to Irina Balakshina, who is a fashion and curational practices researcher, PhD school graduate. And Irina will tell us about long-term relationships with clothes, that they are therapeutic, and what you should draw on when building them.
Thank you, Sveta. I share my screen. Could you see it?
Yes, we see it not on the white window. Yes, no, yes, thank you.
So I'd like to tell you about creating a relationship with your clothes, why these relationships are therapeutic, and what you should draw on when building them. Also, I will tell you how in adulthood we repeat patterns that caused us to become emotionally attached as children, and how caring for clothes gives us more than we give to them. And I begin about caring and mending. The closest object of our love and dislike for ourselves is our body. And once we learn to care for, accept, respect, and love the body, we will develop an inner self-confidence. And clothing is an extension of the body. That's why showing respect and gratitude for our body is about paying attention to what and how we wear. And the process of wearing is a mutual process. It's important not only ask yourself or what you feel comfortable in and what keeps you warm, but also what are you doing to your clothes to make them last longer and last better. This is where the practices of clothing care and repair come in. Mending isn't just about needing to repair a favorite item or garment. It's also an act of creativity, and creativity is a resource where our goal is to have fun. We can give ourselves permission not to be perfectionists. And mending is also very useful process. While our thoughts are distracted, our minds are quietly working on solving complex or hanging problems. This is the reason why the mending dating format that we came up with in our lab has been so successful. People are distracted from their thoughts, and their hands are busy by mending. And it's easier for people to make contact, to open up, or come up with unusual ideas. Now about repairing favorite clothes. Perhaps my love for repairing knitted items is due to the fact that my mother knitted a lot of things for me as a child. And there are things that I will always mend because they connect me to generations of my family. Firstly, there are socks that my great-grandmother knitted and patched. She had a lot of knitted different socks in different sizes for every taste and color, and she always darned them. And secondly, things that evoke warm memories associated with family and home, and often it's the sweaters. For example, my grandmother's purple knit zipper, and now I wear it at home on cold days, and it makes me feel very comfortable and peaceful. Now a few words about emotional memories and choices. I'd like to tell you by my own example how associative memory works, and that images that we see now trigger perceptions and memories that we have experienced in the past. My grandmother's house holds memories, and things, garments that used to be used for their intent and purpose are now used in a different way. For example, this jacket, which was worn by my dad when he was young, now hangs in our shed and is worn by one who grills. This jacket has gone from being everyday wear to being functional and role-playing garment. But this item is closely connected to the place and history of the family, and it cannot be taken out of the context. This photo shows my dad in his youth in this jacket, and this photo where he's wearing it now, as well as well as my husband, who also wears it when he comes to the village. And note the numerous holes on the jacket. They give it charm and emphasize its age. And I do not want to patch it. I want to keep it as it is now. And next in the photo is a sweater I bought last week. And I'm also now in the sweater. I bought it in a secondhand shop. When I saw it, I just felt in love and instantly felt a bodily and emotional response. And why do you think that is? Because these patterns and these colors have been with me all my childhood and conjure up associations of warmth, comfort, and confidence. And the second thing I would like to tell you about is a yellow knitted cotton suit that my mom knitted for me, and a suit that I tried on this summer in one of the local fashion brands in Moscow. Also, instantly, I felt a bodily and emotional response, and I felt happiness and joy when I put it on. The knitted cotton, the creamy yellow, those stripes of blue-green color. In that moment, it was like I unlocked a part of myself that had been asleep for a long time. My perception of fashion, clothing, and myself is largely built on the experience of photography. My dad took a lot of pictures of me as a child, and when I look at myself in the photos, I automatically build up the same poses or movements in which I was captured, and my memories come back to me, how I felt in those clothes and in that period of my life. And some of the clothes I made myself with my mom. For example, I remember the euphoria I was in when we made pompons for my stockings for this yellow costume. All of my funniest memories are from my grandmother's house. History is stored there, and it's still stored there today. I noticed that we keep the clothes we loved most often in. My life in childhood has been full of flounces, color, prints, and needs. That's how I could describe my childhood closet from the memory. And perhaps there are the same things I look for when choosing my clothes now. And I look for that feeling of fun, lightness, and happiness I had when I was wearing those clothes. Memories of how we feel in clothes are very powerful. It's emotional boost and resource that we can now use as adults. And now I'd like to tell you how I select the clothes. And the main question I ask myself before I buy is, who do I feel like I am in this clothes? And how much do I like that feeling? How much does it fit me? For example, once I bought myself a long pink down jacket because I felt like a flying cloud in it and really enjoyed every time I put it on. This story is one of those why it's important to dream not about something specific, some things or some goals, but about how you feel when you have it, what exactly it will give you, what emotions you will have, how your body will feel. And true desire, true love responds in the body. For example, if you see clothes in a store or a secondhand store, take your time and try it on. Does it fit comfortably? Does it lend itself to your movement? Touch the fabric with your hands, hear its sound. Does it crunch or is it silent? How heavy is it? How does the fabric hang? Does it fit your body? How does it feel? And do you like the feeling? It will be great if every item you purchase for your closet would you would feel into it. But it's a skill of understanding yourself and how you feel, which may be discouraging at first, but over time will develop to the point where the process of choosing and listening to yourself is as natural and seamless as possible. For example, I like to be different. I want to feel closeness and warmth, lightness in my body, joy and inspiration from life. Even if my attention may be drawn to different things, the sensory experience that I seek is the same. The last question, what I'd like to ask myself and you also, what besides owning a thing can give you the same sensations? Perhaps it's a way to expand your sensory perception, to go beyond the clothes. And I'm not so much encouraging you to buy less as I'm encouraging you to realize what you want. I'll close with being a table from the book by Ali Klitsch. The world is on fire, but we're still buying shoes. I'd like to wish everyone that the only reason why we buy clothes is just love. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ira. I think that today we'll hear more stories about relationships with our family because it's really inspire us to wear our clothes differently, not as a fast fashion system is inspire us to do. And so now I invite Nina Veresova, textile artist, researcher, PhD student, and British Higher School of Art and Design teacher, to tell us about stains, how personal stories appear through repairing stains on fabric, and how a stain opens up and becomes more complex when it contact with needle and thread.
Thank you, Sveta. Hello. Hello, everybody. It's nice to see you all here. And I'm reading comments in the chat, and hopefully if you have some stories about stains, the personal ones on your clothes, I would be happy if you write them down to add to my collection. Yeah, I'm going to talk about the stains and stories, but also it's about my journey within the lab, because stains appeared like consciously in my life and my artistic practice just because I joined the lab, and I was really fascinated about the types of imperfections that people tend to mend, and my focus switched on stains. And yes, so a little bit about me for the context. I initially, by training, I'm a fashion designer, and right now, looking at my graduate collection from 2017, I actually see that stains were within my practice for quite a long time, but I haven't noticed it before. Yeah, this is one of the garments. And the interesting thing about it, that stain is always dramatic. It's always some kind of drama hidden within it, and it's always some kind of event that we may tell our friends and colleagues about it, and if we have it on our clothes, then we have to proudly deal with it for a day. Or if we have it on interior textiles, then probably it's there for quite some time, and it's stories. And also another aspect of stain that I'm looking at is because recently I have an interest in natural dyeing, and I noticed that this similarity between dye and stain. So there are stains and there are dyes, and dyes are different because they create this chemical connection between the dye stuff and fabric, and stains can be we can get rid of them with some chemicals. And this idea of the dye being just a giant stain that covers the whole fabric is quite fascinating for me, because if it's there forever, we can kind of, if we cannot get rid of the stain, it becomes a dye because it has this chemical connection, and then we need to figure out what to do with that. So those are some examples of my natural dyeing experiments, which started during the quarantine time, and also they were quite within this period. I joined the lab when I was working on that, and probably this also affected the idea. So then working around the stain within the lab, because we can exercise our research interests within the workshops that we are giving, and that's the main benefit apart from being together and mending. We can check the theories that we get and then use it for research. So one of the workshops that we had in Jewish Museum of Tolerance in Moscow was devoted to stain, and for that purpose, those three pieces of fabrics, they resemble tablecloths, like imitating the situation of people having a dinner. And then on those white tablecloths, we have some stains. So those stains I made myself, and those tablecloths are washed, and then the stains are there. And then we asked the participants of the workshop to try and mend those stains, and then we tried to observe different strategies that the participants employed. And it was really interesting because some stains were just there, and the shapes were quite different. And this means like little stain. So some of the mending strategies were just the statements that stain is there and that we like it. Also, stains and the shapes of them, they were made with the use of cups. So the usual cup stain that we may get in everyday life. And while mending, people tend to open up and talk about different stuff. Usually on our workshops, people don't know each other. and they meet during the workshop. And then while mending, they start talking and telling stories. And usually the stories turn to be very personal, because the act of mending, the act of stitching, it starts this, I don't know what happens, but usually it turns into discussing husbands, ex-boyfriends, grandmas who were cheating with other like with other grandfathers and so on and so forth, and it turns into gossip, but the good one, when we share the experiences and like this playful conversation about something. And the writing here, it states that this is a tablecloth, and that gossip makes the conversation alive, and then it states that it's a stain. Also, what was interesting is looking at the backside of the mending and of the stain, because usually it looks different from both sides depending on which side we got the liquid or whatever, whichever brought the stain to life. And then the choice of of the shapes that participants used. And here, for example, we have a stained circle, and then there was a polka dot fabric, and then polka dot fabric, it gave a circular shape for the patch. But at the same time, if we look at the back side, the stain was nothing like that shape. Yeah, so it became an applique in here, and actually that one was mine, done later on, actually out of boredom, because we, not out of boredom, but we used to have another workshop later on mending dating. And at that point, I didn't feel like dating, but I felt like mending, and I found this fabric. And actually, the shapes of this really bright patterned polyester flower fabric, it resembled the shapes of the stains, and turned into this composition, covering the stain to the fullest. And this idea of stain giving this the starting point for the composition in the end, with the materials that we can find around, because for our participants, we bring materials and they have to work with what they find, and they don't know what they will find. Even we don't know, because every time it's quite random. Here, this proud owner of the that was probably yeah, that was a piece of fabric still, but she was really proud that she invented some kind of dynamic composition of dinosaur. They are playing with like resembling the tail of the dinosaur with this part of the stain. Some were more expressive, and this is three-dimensional stain, because three-dimensional work, because the stain itself, it has lots of express, like it's very expressive, and the mending is expressive as well. And that's another of mine, because I contacted with this fabric for the longest time, not just during the workshop. That's where I discovered beads as playing around the shape of the stain itself. And here we have like avocado-like shape. And that was really important, actually, because there, by following the direction of the stain, we can get abstract shapes and work with those. Then we got on our beautiful expedition to Tula Oblast, which was mentioned before. And there we had a workshop with lots of children, actually, where we employed our textile books, which we have for our participants to train and to learn like stitches and and techniques on how to mend things. And for that workshop, continuing working with stains, I prepared some safe stains. So those are made with watercolors to prevent this disgust feeling, because stains which are made not by you but by someone else can be not that pleasant. So those are more pleasant and colorful. And then we asked they were included into this textile books for people to work on. And then they kind of participants, and again, it's important that there were lots of children in there, because they started coloring it and finding narratives within those stains and building up compositions. And some of them were quite abstract, but then here we found a fish, and then the color of the thread, it resembles kind of the colors that we got here. And those little splashes, they resemble bubbles, and that's why it's a fish which is underwater having bubbles. And here again we have rain, and that's why there is an umbrella over here, which started from just a square, but then it was covered so it doesn't get wet underneath the rain. Interestingly, when continuing working with stains, because we had quite a lot of fabric, this imitation of tablecloth left over after the first workshop, we used it for our textile books as well. And interestingly, mostly when people got meet the stain while working, they choose the most expressive and saturated part for the as the right side of the fabric. So here, this is the right side where we have more stain, and this is the wrong side of the same stitch where we have it where it's less saturated. And then after all this, it occurred to me that I can use these approaches within my creative practice, and this is a recent project. It's an art project done during the New Year night, this New Year 2024. I had a New Year dinner, the traditional New Year dinner, which resembled me celebrating New Year alone. And I had everything I loved about New Year, and everything that which I didn't like wasn't there. And the idea was to map this dinner and see how stains may appear on white tablecloth, and then working on top of that tablecloth and see how whether I remember the moment of appearance of the stain and which emotions may it give to me, because celebrating New Year alone, especially in Russia, it's kind of not a good thing, because sometimes it means like you're a loser in a way, but at the same time it's a liberating thing. So I wanted to track my emotions and see how this may work. And then I documented the process on how the fabric got stained from preparing the dinner till the very end of this celebration. And this biggest stain, it didn't appear on purpose, but it appeared accidentally. It turned out that despite having beetroot salad and all this like stainy things within my dinner, I didn't have enough stains. And I was kind of trying to accept that, but then at the very last moment I dropped my glass, and then I got another big stain. So that's the end result. And then I tried to track the stains back and see what gave me those stains in which moments. Then carefully I started researching the tablecloth and working on top of that, covering the stains, but then not hiding them, but just covering them with my needle and my beads. And every stitch brought the memory and the motion of stain appearing, the process of this celebration, and the way how I responded to it. In the end, during the exhibition, it was an empty table with traces of that celebration. And the interesting thing that I noticed is that like visible stains are there, but also what we have tiny stains which we cannot kind of notice from the first time. And you can notice those like little things only when you work on bigger ones, and then they start spreading and spreading, and you have more and more and more, and they kind of never end. So that's why there are lots of those tiny bits and areas. To continue my journey, during our mending picnic in June 24th, 2024, I came to this picnic with nothing to mend, but then I remembered that that was a shirt which was quite new, and I got this stain during one of the workshops at our university while dyeing with students, and that was the first time that I wore this piece. And so it was new, instantly stained, and then washed. And I noticed it, and I started mending it, working with my memory and of the event. And interestingly, the choice of material, again, it came up from what we had, and we had some beads. And then starting from the bigger stain, moving on to smaller ones, which weren't there before I started mending. Then, while I had time, with connection of those, I started following the stripe pattern, and then I got a completely new shirt, about which I was asked a lot further on, and still being asked, and which I'm really proud of. And then now, and I also have the memory of the mending process, as well as the dyeing workshop that I had with students. And then the moment while we are all mending here, I have a quote of my friend Andrei, who we were dyeing together with, and he has similar stains of similar matter. It's like metal powder, not metal powder, and I'm mending his stains. I have some here, so there is some bleach over here, and also there is some metal powder and ink. And then those are not holes, but I'm mending around those to commemorate the process, how he got it. And actually, I thought it would be quick because there was like this giant stain over here at some point. But then while working, I found more, and still finding some. And that's amazing because stains, they lead you through this process just by starting looking at those. And then I have this cuff with some, like some of them are double-sided, some of them are one-sided, and I still get more, and I'm not sure how much more I will find, but I definitely will find some. Thank you.
Thank you, Nina. Thank you very much. For your really inspiring work. I think that we all look at stains after. Sorry, but we all look on stains that they inspire us to not to take them out, but to make something with them, to make them mending, to make with them visible mending, and to make them a part of the creation, some creative parts on our dresses. And so we hope maybe somebody will post some stories about the stains in the chart, and we will happy to talk about it, to comment on it during the sharing console part that will be after our presentations. And now we will talk, there will be a part about upcycling process. And for first, I invite Elena Yermakovishna, who is art historian, fashion designer, producer of cultural events, and PhD skill graduate. And Elena will tell us about her personal brand, Yermakovishna. Those drops are completely reassembled from used items.
Hi, girls. I'm sorry, my English not so well, and I prepare my presentation. And if you understanding me, или разрешите, decide, allow, I read my presentation, and if you want, we talk after my presentation. Are you see you?
Yeah, everything is good.
Yeah, cool. My brand Yermakovishna have some UTP, DNA, with attention to art, with love to awareness. It's a brand, it's a Russian brand of clothes and accessories for modern and brave. And our favorite techniques are multipliers, minimalism, and complete cut. We cannot imagine life without movement, and we love contemporary dance because I have some education in contemporary. And we are creating clothes that are comfortable to wear on stage and appreciate in everyday life. Since its creation, the brand has been impressed by the idea of recycling and the second life of things. There are consonants with global fears about oversaturation of the world with things, and since 2050, the brand has used remade technology, and for the last 3 years, we have some practice in total remaking in the general principle. And I show you a lot of examples and show you. This about some story. I have 2 projects. I have brand and I have long fashion weekend. It's fashion for Urals local fashion community. It's adaptive fashion week, which working for locals after locals. I have some participation in fashion weeks in Tbilisi, in Georgia, in Russian Mercedes-Benz Fashion Week. I have participation in Chinese fashion show like Silk Road Heritage Fashion Show in Guangzhou, and there are. Our collection, it's about deep understanding of domination ideas and awareness of the visual of modern culture, because I'm a historical art, как правильно, блин? Art history.
Art historian.
Art historian, yes, thank you. And for me, it's very important to research of and transmission our buyers, our customers, yes. And we have 2 seasonal collections per year, but after pandemic we doing drops, and if you want to read some text about our collection, you can see our website yermakovishna.com, and there are big texts about our collection. I think important told about сложное слово consciousness, about consciousness. And Yermakovishna is a brand for which, in addition to performativity, the main value is conscious consumption and sustainability. Since its creation, the brand has been impressed by idea of recycling and second life and of things, and we take the following action in the context of the consumption agenda. Using leftover fabrics from warehouse of larger designers, items created in limited quantities, and new production cycle is launched only by pre-order. Since 2080, remade items have been included in collection. All drops since 2021 are completely upcycled. Collection are realized only twice a year in limited edition. All items are multivariant, invariant, and combinational, which helps to collect a minimal comfortable daily capsule. And we work according to customer sizes exclusively for each client. A lot of pictures. It's collection nudity from leather which were wearing. It's a collection dive. We saw a skirt with some trousers, рубашка, skirt, jacket.
Shirt.
Skirt with shirt, and we see a trouser from leather. This collection reformation where we using some garment from some type of platform Avito. We buy some garment and remaking, and the next step is using in new garment. In this, we saw leather, and we saw skirt with pleated skirt. With pleated. There are airdrop, all doing, полностью состоящие, all, я пропала.
Fully, yes, consisting of
из вещей, бывших в употреблении.
Of the things which have been used, yes, used thing.
Wardrobe тоже. И the last drop, 3D drop, it's a garment для которых мы использовали рубашки, которые мы распускали на ленты. Все, я это не скажу.
Which they used the shirts which what maybe had been undone into ribbons.
Into strips and ribbons.
Yeah, strips and
belt
ribbons.
Strips, 4 wheels. The same variation, and the last collection полностью is fully from garment from using in earlier times.
So everything is used, everything which had been worn. Nothing is sort of made from scratch. So this is essential for the brand.
Включая ожерелье из пуговиц, которые мы видим.
Yeah, including actually the necklaces, which are made from the buttons.
If you want to talk about this, maybe I can, but if you want, come to our site, come to our Telegram contact, and we can discuss our collection or another technology maybe. Thank you for attention.
Thank you, Lena. Thank you very much. And now I invite Karina Polinskaya, who is also a fashion designer, a stylist, and creator of fashion brand of long-lasting limited edition clothing. And she will tell us about her brand and personal upcycling project.
Hi, I'm Karina. Thank you for inviting me. Also, I'm kind of the newest member of the Mendit lab. I was just recently invited to join, and thank you so much. Today I would like to share my experience with upcycling and actually what I've been concentrating on recently. Do I share it properly, the screen? Yeah?
Yes.
Okay. So actually my kind of path into the sustainability started from my studies in the university during my BA courses, fashion design, and this was my sustainability project. It was something new. It was, well, it was new to me. It was 2017, I suppose, that period. I've started my research from wool, and wool being kind of the most sustainable material, and considering its impact on the environment, and it being biodegradable, as well as it's a long-lasting material that you don't need to wash a lot. But then I shifted, what would we do with the polyester sweaters, and what's up with them? Well, the only thing that we can do is we can upcycle polyester and create something new out of it. And yeah, so this is my kind of asymmetrical sweater that consisted out of, I think it was around 6 different sweaters that were donated to me by my group mates that didn't want them. Some of them had some damages, some of them had some stains. Some of them were they were all a bit ruined. And so kind of this is my first attempt into the upcycling. Then came my graduate year, and we had to create a collection. Actually, I've tried to. Initially, my idea was also to create something out of donated clothes, and this was my first attempt, kind of a toile to my final look. It was a deconstructed trench coat, and also, as we all were studying in the university, we had a lot of leftovers after all those years, and my group mates donated me similar colors to my trench coat that was deconstructed, and I've tried to create something new out of it. Everything you can see, it wasn't bought, even the centerpone and the lace, it was my grandma's. I think she has a habit of cutting off some beautiful things like buttons, lace from her old clothes, and she keeps that. So she has also donated that to me. And actually, this dress further on was it was a toile, but it was featured in a lot of photo shoots, and kind of was a success at that point. And afterwards, the final look was created for the fashion show, and I kind of used the same approach, though it was not such, considering the sustainability, it was not so good, because, well, I've bought some of the raincoat materials. It were like in shops in Moscow, we have this big baskets where they have leftovers, very cheap ones, less than a meter. And you can buy them, like they're very cheap. So I've bought all those raincoats leftovers, and printed them with heat press. Well, and it is kind of made in the same manner as my toile. So this was the final look in the collection, which was featured on Mercedes-Benz Fashion Week. And then after my graduation, me and my friends, so we have started up a small brand. Initially we also thought, how can we go into this have this sustainability approach in our brand's DNA. So we produce small drops. We produce only out of real leather, and as well as in the final collection that I have created, we'll use only kind of small leftovers of leather. I mean, in the shops, sometimes there are just like less, so they have kind of small amounts that nobody buys, like big brands. And those small amounts of leather that are being left and like nobody needs them, they're much cheaper and they're sold at much cheaper price. So we buy them and we create a small drops. And I think we don't have more than, we have never created more than 2 variants of the same color. We also concentrate, like we don't make black leather coats. We like to find those precious treasury leathers. And as well as, so we had to make a vest because we didn't have enough leather, but we just couldn't leave it in the shop, the silver one. We produce locally, that was the goal. And we work with a small tailor technician, a magical woman. She keeps all the leftovers, and she is actually, she's a very well-educated technician. She has she is in love with leather, and kind of she manages to squeeze those patterns in with having like very small leftovers of leather afterwards. So we thank her so much. Yeah, so this is the brand that we're working on with my partners and friends. Then I think it was around 2021, we've been moving to the new house, and when we were packing, we kind of, with my husband, we understood that we have a lot of clothing that we don't wear. It has some, it has stains, it has some rips, it is old, it's unfashionable. But we just, as well as mentioned, we can't let it go because it has some memories as well. But it kind of lays there. The space is limited, and looking at all the brands around, and there are quite a lot of emerging brands concentrating on sustainability in Russia now. And I kind of got the idea of uniting those pieces of clothing together, but always keeping in mind that they kind of have to be exceptional for me, not a simple design, and something that I would wear. So this was my first shirt. It consisted out of a small jeans shirt that no one could have fit in, checked ones. And also I concentrate on so that the similar approach that I had in my toile, that it was in the same colors of the trench coat. I kind of take this approach further on in my personal project in upcycling. And yeah, so the trousers are also a miniskirt that went wrong and I couldn't wear it no more. And some, actually that's my husband's trousers that I have also remade. And then happened the sweater. Well, kind of, it's 3 of them here. Also, I don't know how to knit, and that's a big problem for me. I always tell myself that I'm gonna I'm gonna learn that skill. I'm gonna well, someday. So here you used a hand overlock stitch to connect the sweaters, and also the beads, the yarn that I have used to connect. This is all that kind of I didn't buy. It is all in my the sweaters were actually in the attic in our countryside house, but the yarns are in the boxes all around the house, so I don't buy anything for the projects. I use only what I have left, what I have bought before for various projects during the university and for the projects that I have outside the fashion projects for brands. So this was the sweater, and this was the striped long sleeve. It had a stain, so I had to put on the label. This was my idea. Also searched for a sticker or something like that. But yeah, so it came out of this kind of beautiful white lace is also from my grandma. She has cut it off from her old dress, I suppose. She can't remember sometimes, but those stacks of beautiful also textures are here with me. So I continue collecting them, and also got the manner to cut off beautiful pieces from the garments and spread them in different boxes. So I would further on use them. As well as it was an interesting experience. I was invited to create a masterclass for the shoe brand last year, and well, we've come up with the idea to use their fabrics that they didn't use in their collections further on, but we had to concentrate on not like on the people that can't even know, they don't know how to sew. So we came up with the idea of using this kind of metal poppers to create a bag, a small bag for an iPhone or telephone, I mean, any, and keychains, fun ones. You could have done any shape you like. Well, it was actually a success. I mean, a lot of people that came afterwards asked for my contacts and invited me to kind of, if they had any parties, you know, if I would have a masterclass for them. They were very glad to receive those small bags and keychains afterwards. And afterwards, I kind of used this approach with the leather leftovers, as well as of the cutouts from those hearts I have put inside, so there are no leftovers afterwards from those keychains. So thank you. This is my experience in the upcycling that I will certainly continue, and encourage you to continue or maybe or start a similar project with this kind of approach. Thank you.
Thank you, Karina. Can you please stop sharing the screen?
Oh yeah, sorry.
Go to another project.
Yeah.
Thank you. And now I will introduce my project. We have 3 presentations left and 20 minutes, but maybe we can have like 10 minutes more. Please don't go away. And after that, we'll have a time to comment and to share our thoughts and questions. So I will show. Do you see it? Do you see the screen?
Yeah, all good.
Yes, thank you. So I will introduce my personal project, my new personal project, and it is only in its beginning. And in this project, I suggest looking at upcycling as not only as a design method that designers, fashion designers use to create new clothes, but as a wardrobe practice that can be used by everybody. And this is also topic of my PhD thesis. And as this is only at its beginning, I will show you how I came up to this idea. Since 2014, I have had a fashion brand inspired by the local culture of the Russian North. My father was born there in Arhangelsk region, and before I started the brand, I didn't know anything about it. And after I started the brand, I researched local culture, traditional costume. I traveled through the region, visited museums, and got acquainted with the local community. I participated and organized several ethnographic expeditions and in art residence there. At the same time, at the end of 2022, the brand was closed due to different reasons. But one of the reasons was that I didn't want to produce new clothes and sell it, and then produce more clothes and sell it again. And so because selling was the big part of the brand that I didn't want it to do, and I didn't want to inspire other people to buy clothes. So I wanted to find another practice, another method of not using, but bringing clothes, finding clothes. Yes, and also, but the main thing, the big thing that I knew from researching local crafts is that upcycling is rooted in it. The upcycling practice and upcycling is rooted in local culture, and the traditional costume was very important part of the culture, and people saved it, mended, added parts, resewed and redesigned it till it started falling into pieces. And even when it started, the costume started to fallen into pieces, they cut it into long strips and ribbons and weaved carpets out of it. And in the picture on the right, you can find the bag that we made for a brand using this technique. In 2022, I joined Mendit research lab community and started to be fond of mending techniques, mending practices. Also, I and Nina Verisova, who I close. Sorry. And in 2022, I joined Mendit Research Lab, as I say, and I started to be fond of different mending techniques and to mend my clothes and how mending affecting us. And also, I and Nina participated in the project which researched the archive of the big Soviet institution that developed local crafts in Soviet Union. And thanks to it and due to this, then I researched all this archive, and then I tried mending. I understand that clothing could be a new material that is created by human and that can be used instead of new textiles. And upcycling is can be seen as a contemporary craft. So, and we are now in the process of developing this craft in the beginning, because we know methods, and people and designers all over the world are trying to develop it, to find their own methods, to make it out of it a business strategy. But in the beginning of the craft, there is people who do it by themselves before. So, and that's why I thought that we can use upcycling for our own, not to sell clothes. And at the same time, cycle practices were widespread in Soviet Union, and our grandmothers and mothers and a lot of people in the Soviet Union, they knew how to sort, to alter clothes and to upcycle and to create new things out of old ones. And also this is what rooted in my family experience, because my father always asked to patch his sweaters and to mend all his clothes. Here you can see him in different shoes, because he thinks that he doesn't need to throw one shoe in if our one is in good condition, so he can pair it. And also here is my grandmother, who has been mending redesigning her clothes. She bought all her life, and she's still doing this. And thinking about upcycling, I understand that as Russian proverb says, an aspen tree doesn't produce oranges. От осинки не родятся апельсинки. And I realized that I've been upcycling on and off all my life. Even before I wanted to become a fashion designer, I resewn grandmother's clothes from Soviet times and changed my mother's clothes to wear it. And I was a student when I started in school. And even here you can see a photo from 12-16, when I had already started a fashion brand. So here is a skirt that I made for myself out of dress. And their method that I use, I can call gentle upcycling, because I try to save as much garment as I can, because the idea is to find clothes that could be worn after some gentle changes. So I don't want to create something new, but I want to change the garment to return it to the cycle of wearing, like my grandmothers did in the past. And I usually redesign my clothes from my family, or something I find in the second hands. And here are some examples, just several. And the thing that I love the most in this practice, that I don't know the result, what will be at the end. For example, here designing that Soviet dress, I wanted to make the plain skirt out of it. And I wanted to use a white seam alones that we usually Soviet dresses usually had, but when I ripped it out, I found that there are a lot of big holes out because of needles, and so I couldn't use the whole fabric. I had the fabric of this dress, and I had to find a complementary piece of fabric to add to the skirt. And I like the result much more than just plain skirt. And I can call this co-designing with the garment, because during this process, you get to know the construction of the dress and how it was made, and this can redirect your process. Here is another dress that I just changed their how to say it, I forgot.
Neckline.
The neckline, yes, the neckline, thank you. And that's it. And their dress looks really different, and I really like this summer dress. And here is the dress of my mother's dress that I really wanted to wear, and I tried it when I was a student. Then I was like 24, but I always was bigger than the dress. And so this summer I decided to redesign it and to make blues out of it. And as you can see, I released the darts to make the dress bigger, and decided not to iron it, but to, and they are so old. Yes, the dress was made like 30 years ago. And so we see these lines, and I decided to leave it as the part of the design. And as I focus more on the process, not on the result, I see redesigning as one of the wardrobe practices, along with wearing, cleaning, ironing, and so on, because it's that you spend a lot of time with this dress, with this garment, redesigning it, and you create some emotional touch to it, and it really helps you to see it different in the line of other dresses in your wardrobe. So thank you very much. That was I wanted to say. And now I invite Galia Ignatenko, who will present her project, textile art project as a textile artist.
Yes, thank you very much, Svetlana. And yes, my name is Galia, and I'm an art historian and researcher, but here you can see my artist statement, and you don't have to read this, it's too long, but I'm just very proud that I have one, because now I feel a sense of self-permission to call myself a textile artist. And but it all started with mending, and this would never have happened without the support of our lab. And I only began my artistic practice this year, even though I had been dreaming of it for many, many years. And thanks to mending and the encouragement from our lab, I was finally able to make something. And but I'm only a very, very beginner. Let's see. Oh, I'm sorry. This was too quick. How all you know, embroidery is an effective and a great form of mending. You can use it to cover a small stain or hole, or simply refresh an item that has become boring or worn out, for example. And this type of mending has always been more interesting to me. And as you've heard and as you've seen during our session and during our meetings and workshops, we enjoy coming up with some creative formats, which has allowed me to keep practicing and improving dramatically my skills. For example, one of our session, we were repairing family memories. It was an idea of Marina Sazonenko, artist and researcher, and participant brought photographs from their family albums, and we embroidered them, we chatted and shared family stories, and that's what's great. And I choose to embroider my great-great-great-grandfather, Sergei, you can see him here, and my father was named after him, Sergei, and I, in my turn, named my youngest son, Sergei, after him. And he's a very, very significant figure in our family history, and there is only exist one photograph of him, and I decided to embroider it, to memorize it better. And in this picture, he's an old man, and he's standing next to his beehive. And during one of the session at the annual conference, our lab decided to embroider while listening, because we understand that it's a great option to remember something and not to be on your iPhone. And it was a great and interesting experiment. And here you can see my textile thesis from the conference with some words. And then this embroidery was done on a sleep mask, and we explored the theme of home, as you heard before. And each person embroidered their own idea of home on the mask. And I think you can easily guess what home means to me. It's a cozy place where I can drink coffee and watch Friends with my family. And then you can see my efforts to improve my embroidery skill, learning punch needle embroidery, couture embroidery, textile design, and more and more. And some my first embroidery notes, because I really love slow stitching process. And sorry. On the left is my 2023 in embroidery, and along with a quote of Tanino Guerra, time will preserve what was worthy and will erase the rest to dust. All these experiments led me to try creating something of my own, something intimate, more personal. And thanks to Nina, you heard our Nina Veresova before. She encouraged me to be brave and just try to create my first piece for an open call. And I did that, and my piece was accepted into the exhibition, and I'm very grateful for that. And this work about my last year, 2023 was a year marked by the challenges of immigration, filled with hope, but yet rejection, disappointment, and ultimately a return to where we started. And it was a deeply dramatic experience for my whole family. And here you can see some details. And here is my next piece, was created for an exhibition in Tbilisi. It was exhibited this September in Tbilisi, in Georgia. And the curators asked us to reflect on the theme of dowry, the gifts and belongings a family sends with a bride when she gets married. I approached this theme through the lens of family, what can be my dowry from my family. And here you can see photos that are almost 100 years old. They show my relative on my mother's side, from my mother and from my grandmother and my grandfather. And I decided to embroider some faces of people who I love, or some faces who feels like just images without any story behind it, without any identities. But as I embroider it, I spent hours and hours thinking about them and reflecting on what we might have had in common, for example. And here you can see the whole work, the whole piece. And there are some faces and some crucial places in our family history. And I'm sorry, yes, here is my grandfather and his mother. And the most interesting part for me, was a key part of the process, was choosing which relatives to include. And I noticed that when I embroidered familiar faces or of people I knew in real life, I was more careful, adding details like the curve of an eyebrow, for example, or an expression. And some relatives, however, felt like just stitches without any emotional affect, without any meanings. And when needed, I would remove them from the ribbon and replace them with someone more important to me. It's like death after death, because without memory, intimate memory, they were just stitches for me. And here you can see the process of removing stitches with a seam ripper. And also one of my project was also an exploration of theme of home for me. It hurts, as you understand. And this textile book is the result of my intuitive process of embroidery, slow stitching, and where my thoughts and emotions are encrypted in this fabric, in this texture, in these stitches. And for a month or two, I stitched different pieces of fabric, then unpicked them, then restitched them. I layered and redyed some parts many times, and I simply followed my feelings, whether a piece of fabric settled or not in its new place. And once I felt that every stitch had found its own home, I stopped and moved on to the next spread. And I really love working with fabric and thread and finding inspiration and following the metaphors they offer me. Because whether the fabric unravels, resists, or tears, I feel there's always a piece that reflects my state of mind in the moment. And that's why I enjoy working with found fabrics, because they also bring their own story too. Then I will show you some reference and another spreads. Sorry, I hear you, and I shouldn't. Thank you. And this textile piece is a map. Oh no, it's not. It's not a map, not yet. And it's a simple textile sketch, very quick patchwork done from life. And I used different various scraps of fabric from Suzdal. It's a region, it's like my native town for me. And then my last work is a textile piece, a map of my childhood memories, where the year felt like divided in two parts. The joyful, free summer in Suzdal, my grandmother town, and the rest of the year spent on the outskirts of Moscow. You can see this gray part. And these puzzle pieces come together to highlight the most important memories of my childhood, where some summer in Suzdal brings back joyful memories, familiar street, small, cozy homes, houses, churches, and some hidden treasures scattered around all over the town, and which I recreate on this map. And in a contrast, Grey Moscow is a place I wish I wish I could cut out of this canvas, but it's still here, like because it was in my life. And houses that feel like cages, power lines where parks should be, and TV shows instead of the freedom to explore. And this piece was embroidered in an old linen that had been in my mom's sewing machines, I think for over 30 years. And I also used some found fabrics and vintage threads for it. I think that's all that I wanted to show you. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you, Galia. And now, Ludmila, we invite you to show your presentation about mending and crisis in times of crisis.
Yeah, thank you, Sveta. And yeah, I will try to be as quick as possible because you've had enough of me, I think. And yeah, I chose this topic because it just really proved that mending is not only a tool to deal with clothes which need help, repair, and some extra care, but it's also the method and the metaphor, the very powerful metaphor. And yeah, first of all, I'd like to say that I'm absolutely, over excited about what I have just heard because so much has grown from the lab, and it's infinite inspiration for me. For the 3 years in a row, I would like to start with the dictionary article about mending, because mending has all these connotations. And when we talk about mending, we can actually talk about very different spheres of life, because we can, when mending means to free from faults or defects, to improve in manners and even morals, to set right, to put into good shape or working order again, to improve or strengthen something such as relationship by negotiation or conciliation. I absolutely love this. To restore to health. Yes, you can mend your body. There is another slide, opening slide, which I thought I would include because in a way, this quote from Walter Benjamin, Moscow Diary from 1927, you probably haven't heard, but Benjamin came to Soviet Russia in 1927, I think, or maybe around this period. And in that diary, he wrote something which really relates very much. He said this amazingly experimental state. It's called repair, and it is a Russian trait. And I do really hope that this Russian trait is here again, and since there is so much to repair for us, and even though in those times people repaired things, people mended everything because of the lack of the things and because of the scarcity, today it's an absolutely different situation and different context. We repair because, well, there is no other way, yes, and repair is, in a way, a matter of choice, which we will talk about a bit later. So mending contexts are varied. What can we mend? We can mend things, clothes, bodies, health, relationship, and maybe even a broken heart. Mending is seen as a meaningful form of work. You feel good not only about the result, but the process, and this is important. Yes, you like what you're doing, you enjoy what you're doing. And the other important thing about mending and all manual work is this sense of achievement and control, which we rarely enjoy these days, but mending allows it. Richard Sennett, in his seminal work called Craftsman, speaks about the slowness of craft. The slowness of craft time serves as a source of satisfaction. Slow craft time also enables the work of reflection and imagination, which the push for quick results cannot. So this slowness and the quality time is extremely important when it comes to mending, because mending has its own temporalities. And the time paradigm of mending is focused on cyclicality and duration, conservation and care, as opposed to quick change, trends, etc., and newness. Obviously, care for clothes is much more than just care for clothes, because while mending clothes for someone, we actually express our care for those people who wear them. And during the workshops we have had, and we have had many, I absolutely enjoyed the process when I examined the poses of menders and those performances of care, which are very typical of the caring poses, bending over a child or someone who needs help. Absolutely the same poses are normally used by those people who are involved in mending or any manual textile kind of work. And I would say that engagement in craft, and mending included, is also a form of self-care. We have seen many examples how it helps. We have also seen how mending in a way led to some transformations, yes, when the collective members even decided to try something different. And actually this transformation and the joy and the inspiration they took from mending is, well, it's actually contagious, so join in. What is also important about mending and all manual textile work is the power of the touch. This is something we, I think, have been missing for quite a while, especially not only because of the digitalization, but also because most of the production has been outsourced. So we rarely make things with our hands. And I think the fact that mending actually inspires more and more people is connected with this longing for the touch, for this textile experience, from this rich sensorium of things. Mending is obviously is a sustainable practice, and this is what we like about it. Orsola de Castro, author of Loved Clothes, Lust, and the co-founder of Fashion Revolution, said, "We aren't repurposing and mending clothes because we can't afford to buy something new. We are doing it because we can't afford to throw something away." And this is core to practices of mending. Sarah Ahmed, in her fantastic book, The Promise of Happiness, wrote, "It's not that good things cause pleasure, but that the experience of pleasure is how some things become good for us over time." So we should remember that and maybe have another look at the things we already have in our wardrobes. Celia Pim London-based textile designer noticed that people who come to her mending workshops, and we noticed it as well, bring their favorite pieces, the ones they love to tell stories about. Mending is just adding a new layer of storytelling to the piece, like layers of sediment that accumulate on a rock face. So we can see how mending is actually time, very often money investment, as we tend to mend mostly the things we love. I have already mentioned, and other participants have already mentioned the social aspect of mending, because it's a huge and it's a great community building tool. We all know examples of repair cafes. We have spoken about our mending workshops. Obviously, it's not what we only enjoy on our own. We mostly enjoy it together. And this togetherness of this practice is extremely important. And obviously, it leads us to the therapeutical effect of mending, because it's a collective gesture. It's a very kind of supportive practice. And we have seen it many, many times, and obviously we'll see it again and again. For us, mending is very tightly connected with activism. Yes, it's sort of a silent protest energy which informs the practice. And among other, well, we had a few meetings with researchers, with practitioners, with artists, designers, and among those was Feministische Handwerk Party. It's a political feminist artist movement in the Netherlands that is dedicated to studying, repairing, speaking, patching up, unlearning, and mending. And we had a very inspiring conversation with the girls. And that's actually all the ideas and the thoughts and the context which inspired and still inspires Mending Research Lab, which focuses on wardrobe research, clothing narratives, mending practices, and local communities. Apart from that, I would like just to mention that the Russian Fashion Theory issue 64 from summer 2022, which was devoted to practices of clothes repair, was very quickly sold out, which means that mending is in the air. It is extremely inspiring. So we are, in a way, in a trend, and I hope it's not the trend which goes quickly away. It stays with us for some time. I also did a podcast, Repair and Society, and for those of you who are interested, please join in. I spoke to 10 researchers, artists, and activists about the potential of repair. The podcast is called Repair and Society, and now with my co-editors, Olga Gurova and Irina Kucher, we are working on the special issue of the partner journal, Fashion Theory, the Journal of Dress, Body, and Culture. So hopefully in half a year, there will be an issue devoted to mending. So we can see how there is a certain need for research on this matter, and in a way, it just proves that mending is unchangeably inspiring, and it offers us, all the context and all the connotations I have spoken today about. And as we say in our manifesto, we can't change the world, but we can try to mend it. Join us, follow us. That's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. This is what we are inspiring of every time, every day, and during all our projects. And we also prepared a short, like 2 minutes video from our workshop that we made during our workshops, just to show you the atmosphere during the workshop. And we will try to show you and hope the connection will be fine. Ira will do it.
One moment, please. I try.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Да, вы ее нарисовали, и вы начинаете ее заполнять.
Я просто книги шью.
Ну вы сразу. Смотрите, я вот сюда вперед она идет, так, и назад не ходит. Пошла. А теперь вперед. Так, теперь вперед. О, теперь назад.
Очень интересно.
Thank you, Ira. So here we told you a lot of stories. I guess it is a lot of information you've heard now, and but now I think that you can understand how we inspire each other, and so how we love the community, and so maybe now I just want to thank everybody here and Global Fashion Assembly 2024 for having us. And now we'll stop the recording and we'll go to a sharing council session if anybody wants to ask questions, have comments, and so on. Thank you.